a little less is going out. You could do that, switch it around. If you didn't have to worry about the crispiness, you could close all these up and have it really moist inside. But all you have here, really simple controller. You just hold the button, you set the temperature, it locks in, and set it and forget it. I mean, you put these things in, and they'll probably be there in another 2 or 3 decades. That's our basic technology, what we started with, that Jerry started. Something that's kind of neat on the name Alto Sham. Al and Tom were his first 2 engineers that helped him make the unit. Sham is Jerry's last name spelled backwards. So Jerry Moz, if you flip Moz around, it makes Sham. So it's kind of a weird sounding name, but it's got a backstory to it, which is kind of cool. So this goes up to about 200, 210 degrees. All we're doing in here is holding. But what we want to do, if we want to cook something, you've probably heard of like overnight cooking, or if you cook something low and slow, it's going to have benefits to cooking the product. If you cook a protein, large protein, you throw it in and you cook it really hot, really fast, it's going to shrink. You have a lot of waste. It's going to be tough. But if we're cooking in our cook and hold, this goes up to 325 degrees. So same technology as our holding cabinet with the halo heat, but we can bring that thermostat up to 325. So by bringing that temperature up, we're able to say, all right, I want to throw something in here. We preheat the cabinet to say 250. Like we did a tri-tip, and Chef threw in this tri-tip at
2 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
2 o'clock. So this piece has been cooking in here since 2 o'clock.
It's been,
oh yeah, slow cooking. It cooked fairly quickly, and then it's just kind of holding. So we did a preheat to 250. We threw in the product. This is a tri-tip. Use it, okay. I got it.
Thank you.
We threw in the product, and what's going to happen is, keep at me a bunch. All right. So we threw in product, 250. It cooked up to 90 degrees on the probe. By cooking up to 90 degrees, it made sure not to overcook, and then it's going to be coming from 250 down to a holding temperature. And so by bringing that up to 135 on a probe, it would continue to cook if we had to bring that 250 down to hold. So, sorry, I'm going to stop this, this beeping here. What was that? I broke it. All right. We'll work on that later.
So
you can take a look at it. Anyways, so Stacy's got this cut in half. Really nice, perfectly done from in to in. So normally what you have happen is it's going to get this bullseye effect. And so it cooks the thinner pieces over. It's going to have a bullseye effect where you get the rare in the center, and as it works its way out, you'll be more well done. But with this, it's perfectly cooked all the way across, because we cooked it off the probe, and it set it, it's good, cooked, and then it's just going to go to a hold mode. And so we're not going to overcook the product. What this does is it breaks down the enzymes in the product, get that fall off the bone texture. You're gonna get like pulled pork.
So I'm going to take this and now put it in our blast chiller, so that if I want to slice sandwiches later on or use it for whatever, or just cool it down really quickly, if my kitchen's really hot, I'm going to put it in the blast chiller. It's going to chill it down in a small amount of time, and then I'll be able to put it in the refrigerator or use it on the slicer.
Cool. All righty. Thank you, Ben. Sorry, that beeping was driving me crazy. Might have been rambling for a while. But huge benefits of the cooking. So we can cook items in here, and that's a small tri-tip, but I mean, you could throw in like 10 pound tri-tip, whatever fits into a 12 by 20 hotel pan. And you can have this thing just cooking beautiful product, and they've cooked up to 72 hours at the factory. So, I mean, you throw it in, it's not cooking for 72 hours, but it's very slowly cooking, and then it goes to a hold. And you can do all kinds of proteins in here. You can also do all kinds of stocks. Anything that would normally need to cook in like a big stock pot on an open burner range that somebody has to stand there and stir to keep from burning, you could throw into a pan in here, and you can have a setting that you just hit the button and it's going to cook perfect every time. You'll have beautiful clarity. So it's just a very versatile piece, and all different sizes. Again, just like the holding cabinet, you can go to a bigger unit. We can do big full size where somebody's cooking turkeys in there and doing a ton of them. So really cool piece. I had a customer that was looking at doing combis, and he said, I really just use this for cook and hold. And the combi oven is great, but if all you're doing is using it for cook and hold, this is like a quarter the price of the combi oven. So it saved him some money there. He was able to buy multiple cook and holds. That's all he's using. So we do have a different controller on here than this. If you can see, this is our classic controller. We have a deluxe controller, and what's neat about this, I'm going to shift over so you can see, is we have nice color screen here. You can go in, you can have categories. So I'm going to choose a category. There's our tri-tip, and so you have nice pictures. If you wanted to change a recipe, you can go in, you can do it on here, but you can also do this all from your computer on the deluxe controller. So we can see our preheat to 250. You come down, we have our probe to 90, and the chamber is cooking at 250 that whole time. Once it hit 90, it switched to a hold mode, which is 135. So 90 degrees is still coming up because we're at 250, and then this is dropping to 135, and they kind of meet in the middle at that perfect sweet spot. You can change all of this too. If you wanted something more well done, maybe you set it to 100 degrees on the probe, and it'll drop down, and you'll finish about 10 degrees hotter. We do have this technology in a smoker. And so with the smoker unit, we actually did some mac and cheese, right, Chef? We're going to regenerate later?
Yes.
So that'll come in our multi-cook oven, I believe, because it's still cold. But we're going to throw it in and regenerate it. But pull this out so you can see it.
So I made a mac and cheese, and then I smoked it, cold smoked it for 30 minutes inside of the smoker. And just a little bit, we're going to put it in the Converge and heat it up so it's nice and warm and hot, bubbly for you guys to taste. Gives it a little extra kick.
I stand over here away from the hood. So we just threw some wood chips in there, just some soaked chips. This is all that's left of it. But we have a little heating element that just slides right in the back, heats up, and it vaporizes those chips and releases the aroma. So you do get a really nice smoke out. In our combi oven, we have a larger setup, so where we can throw in a lot more chips. It slides in underneath. With a combi oven, you can just put that into a self-clean, and it will get out the majority of that smoke. With our smoker, it's kind of a smoker going forward, just because we don't have that deep 2.5-hour clean on here. We're pretty much cleaning it with our cleaner and some towels. So with the combi, this will start up, it'll go into a steam mode, it'll release all of those aromas and things that are deep in the pores of the stainless. It'll run through the cleaning chemical, it rinses it out, it dries it. You get a really nice clean out of that. So just know that if you're going to use one of these units for smoking, they've said before, once a smoker, always a smoker, kind of applies to our smoke and hold. I wouldn't throw stuff into that and not expect to get a little bit of smoke out of it, even if you weren't running any smoke after cleaning it. But with our combi oven, you can totally get all that out. So I will now jump over to the combi oven. The chicken is almost done, and we're going to cook, I believe, a couple other pieces in the combi. But combi, I'm just going to kind of start from the beginning, just in case you're not familiar. Combis have been around since the 70s. The beauty of the combi oven is that it's taking a convection oven, it's taking a steamer, and it's kind of blending the two together. And so we can use this technology for so many different things. And we can have a charbroiler, we can replace a proofer, we can replace an oven, a steamer, smoker, We can do all of these different things in here and many more. We could roast, we could do all kinds of things in a small single footprint. So combis were kind of invented in Europe because they're putting these into maybe a castle that's using a tiny footprint. Maybe it used to be a guard shack. Now they turned it into a restaurant. So they can't put a whole kitchen into this place. They have this small amount, maybe a 10 by 10 room. And so the combi is all of those pieces. We can cook in high volume, and we use a probe. And so when we cook off of the probe, as long as you're not changing from like a 3-pound chicken to a 6-pound chicken and a turkey, those will all come out different. But this is meant to throw a lot of different items in here.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
I'm gonna hit the little stop for now.
Thank you.
So this is meant to put a lot of different items in, and you're going to be able to have them all finish at the same time. So we can steam in here at several.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it out.
No problem. Okay. So you can steam in here from 85 degrees, really low temperature steaming. We can poach. We can bring it up to 130 degrees. We can replicate like a sous vide water circulator, water bath that you normally cook product in a vacuum pouch.
So you can see that it is completely cooked from every single angle. It's beautiful, brown, caramelized. Looks like we did it in a rotisserie.
Absolutely. Another piece that you don't need. We do rotisserie style chicken. We did rotisserie duck in here recently. It was amazing. So low temperature steaming all the way up to 250 degrees. Once we go above 250 degrees, then what's going to happen is that steam is going to be transferring the heat. If you were to grab a pan with a wet towel, it's going to burn really bad. Probably more so than if you grab directly onto it. Because it's transferring all that heat through the moisture. And so if we use steam in here, we're going to keep product from drying out, but it's going to drive the heat into the product and cook it faster. So that's the idea with the combi. And we can dial that humidity down to a single percent. So if we wanted to cook something in here, we could say, let's do 400 degrees. We're going to do 80% humidity and 80% fan speed. And we're going to get that fast cook, but then we can also have it get a nice crispiness to it. We can change things in here, like open up the dampers and let the moisture out if we wanted to get really nice and crispy. We can do multiple stages. We can even have it go to a hold after it's done, just like we did in our cook and hold. So this piece can pretty much replicate all the pieces in the kitchen. This is a Swiss Army knife of kitchen equipment, if you will. We make these all the way down to taking just a couple half-size sheet pans in a ventless unit. So you can stick it in a little cafe, and then all the way up to full-size roll-in units. Do you have something to add, Chef?
No, I'm just gonna before we do a lot of the other food, I'm just gonna put in some pizza. I made a par-baked pizza, and I made a fresh dough pizza, and I thought if I put that in now, then you guys can eat a little bit while we're doing the rest, because I know you must be hungry by now by all the smells, right? So, and it's lunchtime.
Absolutely.
So.
Perfect.
So I'm just waiting for it to heat up, and then just get back up. And
alrighty. Couple things that kind of set us apart. We do have a cool to the touch side with zero clearance. So normally a combi is going to need to have 12 to 18 inches of space on the side. We don't want to have like a set of 6 burners right there that can be heating up the controls, the most important part of the combi, and melt some wires or something. So with our unit, what we did is we changed the way the airflow moves around this control panel. And so you can actually go right up to the side of it. So now you're gaining all of this space back. And space underneath the hood is the most expensive real estate in the restaurant. The hoods aren't expensive. It's just running the hood, all the makeup air, the HVAC, all of that. And so if you can have zero clearance, now you can put a fryer next to it, or you can put an extra set of burners or a stock pot or something like that. So just something to keep in mind. And we do make half-size units as well that take half-size sheet pans and 12 by 20 pans. This unit will take full-size sheet pans, 18 by 26, or 12 by 20 and another 12 by 20 on the same rack. So we can stack these. We could do 6 on top of a 6, 6 on a 10, 7 on a 7. Got some cookies, chef?
So these are refrigerated cookies. I can also do frozen cookies if I'd like. I'm doing this in our Vector, which is our ventless oven. And there are 2 cavities. So in the top, I'm going to be doing the pizza. And in the second shelf, I'm going to be doing the cookies at the same time. There's absolutely no taste transfer. The cookies are going to taste like cookies, and the pizza is going to taste like pizza. So I'm going to put that in now.
Thank you, chef. We have the self-cleaning, like I mentioned. What's nice is nobody has to do any scrubbing. You just take this tablet, you throw it in there, you tell it what level you want to do. If you're steaming vegetables and doing some light cooking, didn't have a lot of grease, you can do 1. If you're doing more like rotisserie chickens like we did all day, you can throw in a couple. It'll extend out the duration, usually about double. But nobody has to do any scrubbing. So you're saving on labor. You don't have people that have to stay and work an extra 30 minutes, hour. You just hit the button, go home. So really nice, utilizes all that technology in there. And when you come in, you have a beautifully cleaned oven that's ready to go. We do have a grease collection system. So if you're doing a lot of grease, like chickens, Kroger, for example, uses these, and all the Ralphs and Food for Less. They'll load up 24 chickens per compartment, top, 24 on the bottom. So that piece that Chef, I don't know if it's still out for the chicken, you might have put it in already, but it holds 6 birds, and you can slide 4 of those into each compartment. So a lot of chicken, but with a lot of chicken comes a lot of grease. If you're running all that grease down the drain all the time, it's going to clog up fairly quickly. So with our grease collection system, it'll actually funnel all the grease out of the unit into a jug, and then you just have a quick connect fitting, you pull it off, and you can take that and dump it wherever your grease goes. So just something to keep in mind. If you're doing a lot of grease, add that on. If you're doing the smoking, add it on. Those are the things that have to be added on before it leaves the factory. We can't add it on in the field. We do have ventless systems as well on these, so we can go, all of our units except for the roll-in can be ventless. So it just has a hood on top. It has the grease filters, just like you see up there. It has HEPA filters to capture the smoke and odors. And it just sits right on top of the unit, only adds about this much height to it. So very cool add-on if you don't have a hood. And that is rated for not only condensation, but it's also rated for grease. So we're one of the few combi manufacturers that have a ventless hood that's rated for grease. Only thing that no ventless systems can get rid of is gas. So we can't get rid of the gas byproduct. If you're doing ventless, it has to be electric. Just something to keep in mind.
Not yet.
Not yet? All right. I'm going to grab one of these probes just to show real quick. Something that's really neat about all of our equipment is we utilize a plug-and-play system on our probes. So we cooked the tri-tip using the probe. The chicken was cooked using the probe. It's a great way just to tell whichever piece you're cooking on, this is the exact temperature I want the interior of the product to be. So you can always be sure you're putting out food that's safe, it's up to temperature. Nobody's going to get sick from any of the food that they ate. And anytime you're recording with a probe, the unit is recording every step of the cooking process. So there's something called HACCP, which is basically the measuring system of keeping track of all your temperatures that you hit, how long you cooked it for. So if anybody ever gets sick, you can have a written record to go back and show that it wasn't your food that did it. So cooking off of the probe, we have this plug and play system, and this probe moves from any of our pieces. It's not like it's this is a combi probe and that's a probe for the cook and hold, and they're all different. One probe goes in every single piece. So that's a really cool function. If you're not using a probe in the blast chiller for the day and somebody broke the probe for the combi, you can just pull it out, plug it into the combi, and you're good to go. A lot of manufacturers will have this hardwired, and if anybody pulls this or breaks it or cuts it, you're kind of done for the day, or depending on how busy the service people are, it could be several days where you're waiting to have your probe fixed. If that happens in this case, you can just have an extra one of these in the chef's desk. You can just pull it out, plug it in, and you're good to go again. So really cool piece I just wanted to point out. Universal probes. I'll show you. Yeah.
Cooking is going directly to the chiller. Maybe we can 10 minutes, but not.
Ben, would you be able to help Chef on that? So I'm going to show a demonstration in a little bit on the chef link because I was talking about the difference of controllers. So like on our combi oven, on our cook and hold, I was talking about this deluxe control. On our smoker, we have a simple control. You pretty much say, I want to cook at this temperature, you turn the wheel, you lock it in, I want to hold at this temperature for this long. So that's simple control. On this, we can go in and we can tell it steps. We can say, I want you to preheat to this temperature, then I want you to cook to this temperature on the probe, I want you to hold, I want you to put in this much humidity. So it's very nice as far as being able to customize and change things. And we can also have nice, highly visible color pictures on our menu. We can go in here, we can tweak and change things. And what's great about this is when you have these recipes that are all saved, not only does there a description of what it is, like 6-ounce beef fillet to medium rare, 20 pieces on a full-size sheet tray with an elevated baking rack. Anybody that can read can come up, they don't have to have any chef experience, and they can replicate exactly what chef's spec of the food is. So that's a huge help. And then you can actually see all of this information on ChefLink, which is a free service that comes with the Deluxe controller. No subscription fee to it. And I'll show you a demonstration on my laptop in just a little bit. But you can pull recipes that our AltoSham corporate chefs have come up with and just shoot them wirelessly over to the combi. You don't have to stand in front and plug all this in. You can send it out to all your locations. So if you're a multi-unit operator and you have 50 locations, you come up with a new breakfast sandwich, you can just say, send it out to all these locations except for maybe Arizona. You can exclude those locations. You can do all kinds of stuff. So really cool, no cost to it, no subscription. But I just wanted to point that out. And we are kind of introducing that onto all of our pieces. And so the combi was the last one to get it. So now you can see how that one works, and you can know how to do it on here already because you're familiar with it. You can have multiple AltoSham pieces throughout your kitchen, and there's a much easier, training curve. Somebody says, "Oh, I've already learned how to do it on here," and then they just jump right to that, and they're familiar with it. So we do have a simple controller on our Vector that we'll show when we get over there. Our Converge and our Vector are multi-cook ovens. We keep talking about that. So what that's great for is being able to throw in different items, and each level can be at a different temperature. So we're going to be cooking a lot of different products off of those shortly. Anybody have any questions so far? I've thrown a bunch of information at you. No? We've all got it? Cool. Maybe what I'll do real quick is I will turn on the TV and I will grab my laptop and show you how to do this ChefLink. Give me 3 minutes. That beeping was driving me crazy. I was like, hey Chris, how's it going? Test kitchen, so nice when technology works. All right. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. So I shouldn't go too far.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping earlier, Ben. Sorry, I was like, this damn baby. Got it. Perfect. All righty. And then see the screen. I know it's going to be a little, or if you want, you can even point that at my screen here. Fine? All right. Cool. All righty. So I have this up on the screen here just to show you the chef link, give you an idea of it. So I just logged in. This is going to show all of my deluxe units. So up in our Northern California office, they have 4. Down here, we have 3. So I'm just going to show our kitchen. They're probably cooking up there right now doing one of these too, but you can actually log in. You can see all the different units. So I have our cook and hold, I have our Converge, and I have our Pro 720G for the combi. So if I clicked on our Converge, right now, all of the decks are on, so we can see everything about this. We can see operating mode, it's showing preheating, the door's closed. Here's all of our temperatures. So real-time data, which is neat. And once those go into a cook cycle, it'll actually show what it's cooking and what stage the recipe is in. So you can see everything. If you're a multi-unit operator, you have even if it's just a couple pieces, you wanted to monitor like what was going on in the cook and hold overnight, you could actually see that. If there was a power outage, it would give a alert. Say you lost power, the temperature dropped down to 70 degrees, don't serve that piece of meat, so you don't get anybody sick. But it keeps track of all of those records right on here. We can show completed cooks, we can show power cycles. It will even show you if there were miscleans. So if you had an issue that was happening and somebody said, has it been cleaned? And your employees are saying, no, we clean it every day. And you can click on here and it says you haven't cleaned it for 40 days. So really neat being able to see all of this information. And this is, again, a free service. We have our global library here, and they're always adding new pieces in. So instead of you having to do the work, you can kind of go through, search for items. Like if you wanted to search for biscuits, we've got a biscuit that pulls up. We've got actual biscuits. There's pre-baked biscuits. You can search for chicken. You can search for anything. And then you can just download this to your library and then send those wirelessly over to your units. You can still tweak and change them. It doesn't need to be locked in at this. Maybe you want to add an extra minute or take off a minute. But just wanted to give you a demonstration of the Chef Link system. All right. How are we doing over there, Chef?
We're doing good. Pizza's in, cookies are in.
All right. Sounds good.
So I'm going to take this one out, cut it. People can start eating. I'm going to put the other one in, and then we can start on the salmon.
Perfect.
Or we can put the salmon in whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Let's just throw everything in. Alrighty. So our pizza just came out. How long was the pizza setting, Chef? Was it 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
So 3 minutes for a pizza, and this was
Par baked.
It's a par baked pizza that you made up yourself.
That is correct.
So threw some sauce on there, cheese, pepperonis.
And now this is another one that's fresh, and this is pesto, prosciutto, goat cheese, and fresh baked. So I can open the cabinet, and the cookies are still going to cook as they're cooking. We're not losing any heat. I can stand here. There's barely any heat coming out.
And the reason we can do that is we're pulling that cold air from the back over the controls, and we're creating an air curtain. At the same time, each cavity is going to have its own heating element, and it's going to have its own fans that are pulling all of that smoke, odor, grease to the back and running it through a catalyst. The catalyst is heating up and vaporizing off any grease, odors, smoke, just like a catalytic converter in your car does. So this piece is truly ventless. There's no hood of any kind that hangs off the top of it. We can do 2 levels, we can do 3, we can do 4, and we can stack these. And so what's unique about this is we have the bottom at 325 and this upper level is at 450. You can have it go up or down 50 degrees. So if we wanted this to go up to 500, do some roasting, we can have a setting in there at 500, and this will just automatically jump up to that temperature while it's cooking the product. And then down here, we're baking the cookies. And like Chef said, we're not gonna have any pepperoni flavor or anything like that in our cookies, and vice versa, because it's constantly drawing everything to the back. Nothing is hanging out in the front, and it's going to vaporize off all those odors. So now we've got some pizzas.
Please help yourself. Plates, napkins. Don't mind the spiders. They don't bite.
So what's cool about this? What's cool about this technology is we can have 4 different ovens, basically, different environments, all in one footprint. So where the Combi was cooking high volume and doing a lot of different things in one footprint, this is more a la carte. So we can bake cookies, we can throw a pizza in. If we had 4 decks, we could do a whole meal all at once. So when you're at home and you're cooking, you can try to balance, you can try to throw something in and pull it out different times, but with this, you can literally throw in your protein, your vegetables, you can have your dessert, you can have your sides, all cooking at the same time, and different temperatures.
That is correct. Okay, so now I made some salmon. It's sockeye salmon. It's sort of like a very smoky chipotle kind of flavorish. So I'm going to put that in at the top. And then the squash, acorn squash, have the same spices on them. So I'm going to put that in the middle. Okay. And last but not least, I'm going to take the mac and cheese that I smoked yesterday, and I'm going to put it into the bottom. Voila.
So this is the top. So we got the salmon. Okay. And then this one, we've got the squash. And this one, there we go. So all 3 cavities in there, different temperatures. We got 450, 400, 350. But what we're going to be doing is we're cooking the top one in a roast, no moisture. We're cooking these 2 with moisture. So we're actually utilizing like the Combi technology, driving that heat through moisture. But we can do it on just a single pan shelf. So you have 3 different environments. We can make this one a full steamer. We can make this one completely dry, make that one a combination of both, anything in between. So that's where we took our vector and we added moisture to it, and we came up with the Converge. And this was from earlier this year that we came out with this one, our newest offering from AltoSham. The Converge is not going to be ventless, however. While it does have that catalyst to get rid of the smoke and the grease, we can't capture the moisture. So you're going to need to have a condensation hood to catch that moisture. Right. How's the pizza? Come out.
How's the pizza?
Right, cool.
Good?
Right.
It's amazing, huh? In 3 minutes, you can have something like that. You can really get 2 side by side. So if you wanted to, you could do 4 flatbreads at the same time, or more if you have 3 shelves.
I have a customer who was using a little tiny oven. He was cooking these pizzas, and it was taking 20 minutes to cook the pizza. And he came in here, he says, the problem is people love my pizza. I get good money for it, but it takes 20 minutes. So by the time you're 4th or 5th in line, people start turning around and leaving. And so I said, let's see what we can do in here, because on average, we're cooking about half the time of a convection oven. So we threw his pizza in, it came out great. We did it in 9 minutes. So now we're already at half the time or less. And I said, if you had a 3 level or a 4 level, you could have all those people come in, throw all the pizzas in at once, and in 10 minutes, you can do what would have taken you, an hour and a half.
Production.
And now you just have people coming in. So huge benefits.
Did we tell them that the 4 level, though, is not ventless?
No.
Okay. Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Making stuff up?
4 shelf.
I've only heard the full width. That's all I've heard.
Okay, well that's why I'm going
We'll
to
check
school.
on it. We'll check on it. We do make we do make these units in a full size width that we can fit directly underneath our combi oven, so we can have that technology and the high volume of the combi paired together. Thank you, Ben. So this is just kind of showing how we move our air around. This is a jet plate that we have one in the bottom and one in the top of each shelf. So those fan motors that are on each level are going to blow the air through here. These plates do come apart for easy cleaning. So you can pull these apart, run this through the dishwasher, and then just go back together. We can do this while I'm talking to you. So these guys go back together. Yep. Yeah, we actually ran this through the dishwasher yesterday. And then on the inside, because we don't have any moisture in our vector, we have a spray cleaner that would be in a bottle like this. So we would just spray this onto a towel, wipe the inside, and we'd be good to go. On our Converge, we have moisture, so we can use the tablets just like the Combi. You just throw in a couple tablets, hit the clean cycle, and it'll clean.
6.5. This is raw dough. So yesterday I did it, and I did it. I par-baked the raw crust first, and then I redid it. So if you want to cut down on time, that's the way to do it.
That's just saying to add the broccoli.
Okay.
So we can also add action steps. So like if you had something that needed to be flipped, you can put in an action step like turn over quesadilla, and your operators would see it. They would see the description, turn over quesadilla, flip it, and go. This particular one just said add broccolini to the pan. So if we were doing broccolini with that, we'd throw it in at that time.
Cookies, and like I said, we can do frozen as well.
So everything's out of here right now. Did you want to throw in the
Can we?
chicken?
Can we? I need to.
Yeah, we can just hit that, and then
Thank
we
you.
can do the
Chicken.
Yep. So
Raw
that will
chicken.
be right in the TOAS. There we go. So now chef's gonna throw in some chicken breast. This is actually ventless approved for cooking raw proteins as well. So not only cookies, pizzas, things like that that would do well in a bar atmosphere, but you can throw in wings. You can throw in. We have some chicken breast here, and that ventless is going to take all that grease and smoke out of the equation.
So I'm gonna put arugula on top of this pizza. Fresh arugula and a truffle balsamic glaze. Yum.
You're gonna have to have a tighter pattern on your, otherwise it'll go off the side. Yes. We haven't done the cauliflower crust yet, but that would be good.
I just want to. Can you grab the temperature for me, please? Temperature
Pro- yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, it can do anything. It's basically think like convection oven and then just double the speed. So yeah, it could totally do it. We should try the cauliflower crust next time.
Yeah, or just some frozen.
Yeah.
See what the time is.
Yeah, for raw.
For raw pizza though, that bread was 3 minutes.
Right. Or cooked. Yeah. It is pretty quick. Like I haven't seen a big difference on frozen. You know, like it cuts through that because you have the air moving and it's stripping away that cold and just kind of has this like motion, top and bottom, pull to the back sort of thing.
I invented it.
And these are like
I took
you
a
can
couple
change the
different things
airspeed,
and put it
it'll
together.
be more crunchy if you add more air and less crunchy if you take it away. So they're very customizable. And then you just save it, and then you can give it a
Wow.
name. You know, crunchy cookies, soft cookies.
And then we're gonna try to make
So we got
sure
our
this doesn't.
salmon is done. Where do you want me to put the salmon, chef?
I'm sorry.
Where do you want me to put the salmon at?
The salmon, just can
On
we
top
put it
of
on
the
top?
vegetable?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So our salmon just came out. We've got another 2 minutes on our squash and a little bit of time left on our mac and cheese. 6 minutes. I think so. Yeah.
4 minutes per side.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So let's get rid of this.
Good. All right. You want me to throw the chicken on the grill plate?
Okay. So this is gonna go